weather and worse farming weather that shrivels up your crops. And the 0.5% that we debit is for increasing cost of resources. And it turns out the GDP in the UK, GDP here, is a pretty awful mishmash of things. It is really more a description of cost than it is of utility, of output.
So if a lawyer puts up his fees, it counts as a rise in GDP, as domestic product.
And if a money manager, much more important, puts up his fees, it counts as an increase in productivity. But to my point, if the cost of drilling an oil well goes from as cheap as could be in Saudi Arabia, where for $10 a barrel they beg the bubble to the surface, and you replace that with an offshore well in 5 years in Brazil, which is 300 miles out to sea, beyond the range of helicopters, and then you have to drill 2 miles deep, but to get there to the ocean bed you have to go through 2 miles of ocean. You have a mountain of steel. You have all the best brains from Schlumberger and Halliburton flying out to give advice, and at the end of it, the same lousy barrel that delivers exactly the same utility comes out of the ground. But in that event, Brazilian GDP and American GDP for the Schlumberger guys goes up compared to the easily accessible Saudi Arabian barrel. Now that is clearly nonsense. Society is paying a bigger price to get out the expensive oil. It needs the oil to function. Double the price of copper, same thing happens. So what we did is we stripped out all of the resource component in GDP and said, let's look at the balance. What has been the effect? And it turns out for the 100 years as the price of resources declined, which they did until 2002, productivity was understated for this reason by about 0.2% a year, which is interesting. And then the price of all resources exploded. They tripled, basically, everything. Oil, copper, grain, they all tripled.
Suddenly, just like that?
Just like that. Between 02 and 08, they all tripled. And that is counted as a surge in GDP. I'm not disagreeing with the GDP. I'm just saying that GDP is calculated inaccurately. It's counting what is obviously a cost and including it as if it were a virtue, as if it were a gain. Now, you could say in the future the resource prices are going to go down, but the burden of proof is on you. They declined for 100 years, I grant you, but something pretty profound happened around the turn of this century. The spike from 2002 was greater than the spike in World War II. And that is really quite amazing when you think about it. If you look at the history of resource prices, and we created an index early the year before last of 33 equal weighted commodities to get the